In 2009, Walt Disney Pictures and Jerry Bruckheimer Films brought us an action blockbuster called
G-Force!
Yeah, a movie about guinea-pig spies who fight against evil and save the world from total destruction. When the movie first came out in 2009, it turned out to be... it did gain some decent reviews. The critics seemed to like the action and the special effects, but for the most part, it's just a mediocre at best kids distractor. And as for the box office, that also had a pretty meh result. On an estimated budget of $150 million, the film grossed $119.4 million domestically and a worldwide total of $292.8 million. And as much as you guys want to rant and bitch about how bad this movie is, I personally enjoy it. I know that seems kind of shocking to some of you guys, but I want you to take this with a grain of salt. People are different, their interests are different, and so their opinions on these things are different. Easy as that, but that's not the real reason why I like G-Force. Now, let's get into the plot without going into too many spoilers. First up, I like the idea that they don't waste time giving us an origin story for these guys. There is just a group of talking guinea pigs. We're not gonna screw around how they were some science experiment or if they started like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Imagine that. They just showed up and now we're gonna have a movie with them. The main plot is basically Darwin and his team trying to stop Saber from taking over the world with his brand SaberLink. However, as it turns out something went wrong, they escape the FBI agents from being taken away and meet up with Hurley in a pet store. As the film goes on, the gang gets out one by one with their friend Speckles, the mole unfortunately getting crushed in a garbage truck. No! And as the team is about to stop Saber, it turns out that Speckles is actually the bad guy.
Yansha was in my basement this whole time.
Yeah, and he wasn't a man, he was a mole.
Yansha is the Chinese word for mole.
Apparently he uses Saber's technology items to take down the humans to do a favor for his long-lost dad.
Son, if you ever get the chance to bring mankind to its knees, do it.
In the end, after Darwin talks Speckles over, they stop the destruction, everything is back to normal, with Hurley, who does mess up a little bit here and there.
Cake! Oh, you're so beautiful.
Joins the team, with all of them joining the FBI. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. I admit, not the greatest story for an action comedy, but it was still pretty simple and felt engaging enough to get into it. As for the characters, yeah, that's where the writing falls flat the most. All guinea pigs may have some kind of personality, but they don't really have much regarding their backstory. Ben just tells them where he and Marcy got each one.
I purchased you at a pet store. Your parents abandoned you because you were the runt of the litter.
I was a runt?
However, the main cast is still kind of likable and passable in their own way. Darwin is more serious about his job as a super spy, Huawes being like her voice actress, Penelope Cruz, does make her hot and sexy.
Horace.
And even Blaster has some kind of charm despite his weird performance by Tracy Morgan. You know, where the dude is like, "Yo, babe, I'm no ordinary guinea pig. I'm a super spy. I have to save the world, man." Then we have Hurley, who may seem like your typical goofy, like, newcomer who screws everything up.
Hurley, I told you, stay put and guard the exfil. Didn't I tell you that? I thought I could depend on you.
But honestly, I didn't hate him that much. In fact, he had his own inspirational speech.
You saved us from the dogs, you defeated the Terminator, read the stars like a map and got us here? I couldn't have done any of that.
And then there's Speckles, who, yeah, I admit he fails miserably as a villain because he's the type of guy who may seem good at first, then is a bad guy, and then he turns back good because Darwin talked him over.
We're a family.
Yeah, I can see why he's not a great character. Oh, and the voice that Nicolas Cage gave him somehow tells me that this is not Nicolas Cage.
To access the information on Darwin's PDA, I have to factor a univariate polynomial over a finite field.
Okay.
As for the other characters, they are either there for the one job they serve, like Marcy being Ben's assistant or girlfriend, who also helps out with the team, or they only exist for the purpose of a joke, like Bucky and the Three Mice.
Busted!
Can I offer you something?
You know, this would have been the perfect moment to see Bucky get his ass kicked, and they didn't even bother doing that. Oh, and those guys joined the team at the end of the film as well. for some reason.
Okay, but I'm telling you now, I don't do well with roommates.
I can definitely think of movies that have a worse cast than this, but this cast is definitely far from being good. But I will say though, regardless of how bad you think this movie is, there is no denying that these special effects and animations are simply amazing. Sure, the giant robot at the end may look like it rips off of Transformers, but the clever ways of how these robotic items attack the characters look really impressive, along with other creative elements, like Blaster using the remote to drive the little RC car to escape along with Juarez.
This is a little prototype I've been working on called the Rapid Deployment Vehicle.
That's what's up. Pimp my ride.
And then we have the guinea pigs themselves, who, what can I say? They look like guinea pigs. I honestly cannot complain about their looks. And yet I honestly don't get it when people compare this thing to Alvin and the Chipmunks and the Smurfs. At the end of the day, I admit that G-Force isn't a great movie, but I still enjoyed it enough that I wouldn't call this a waste of time. I would definitely watch this movie over any live action remake like the Smurfs and Alvin and the Chipmunks, since it's something more original.
This is great.
So that's why I think G-Force is a pretty good movie that you can buy on DVD for a good price. Alright, that's it for today. See you later, dudes.